Howdy, howdy. Howdy, howdy. How is everyone? Hope you're all well. Excuse me. Okay, so remember we're looking for a nice clean push into these highs. These are the targets. That is the target, sorry. We're looking for that bullishness up into those highs. That's the goal here. Trade through into the highs now. We did do a little TikTok video explaining how there could potentially be some videos. There could be some moves coming out of here. And we've got big old area of imbalance prices tapped into. We've swept out, a couple of major highs. I believe one of them is the Asia high. And so two previous Asia highs. So we're just not seeing anything right now from this. We are coming into New York now. Just want to put the Hi, what's going on? Welcome, welcome. I don't know what's going on with my camera. Been playing up the last few days. Yeah, so if you haven't followed me already on TikTok, make sure you do. We will be going live on TikTok again once our account's past the 7-day threshold. We will be going live on there again. Okay, so we're looking for those sell moves now into some of these lows here. We've got two London lows. We're looking for price action to visit. Now, understanding the principle that we are bearish, we've run the highs here, we're interacting with an area of inefficiency, chances of seeing this bearishness is relatively high. So we need to keep this in mind. Now, if we go to GJ, for example, which is the opposite, we're actually looking for price to come into the highs here. Now, ideally, we would love to see it pull down into the lows so then we can trade it up through all of the highs and have a really nice expansive move. But this is generally not it's not the way the market works, is it? I'm leaving. Okay, goodbye. Until next time. So big sell-off move here. We did actually have a bias change on gold. Let me adjust that actually because you can't see it at the moment. 1 second, guys. Hmm. Strange one. I definitely put a bias on there. Oh, I bet it's I bet it's underneath here. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully you guys can see that clearly. I don't know what it looks like on YouTube. There we go. So that's going to change depending on what pair we're on. So obviously on gold it's bearish, it's saying bearish. We were bullish, we've now shifted to bearish. So what we'd be expecting would be a run down into these lows here. We'd expect these lows to be taken out. Now, ultimately we wanted to see price action interacting with some high volume highs or high volume lows. We haven't seen that yet. Remember, all the links that you could possibly need are all in the description down below. If you want to join the Discord, you can. Almost 3,000 people in the Discord now, I believe. Almost 3,000 people. Let's see how many people we actually have in there. Yes, 2,800 people. So nearly 3,000. So remember, this system, you can learn it completely free. Completely free. We've got many people in the Discord that have learned it's completely free. We had this move yesterday on here. We got into this really nice long position. I partialed out at 1 to 5, which it just got to, like barely got to, about 2 p.m. But we took it, it was close enough. We took the partial on it. Price came down, didn't deliver to the TP, but that's fine. Now, there is actually an entry here that I didn't see. I never saw this entry, but there is actually an entry here, which is there. Now, why would it be there, I hear you ask? Well, if we're looking at the criteria, we're running a liquid low and running a liquid low, and then we see price run into here. Now, there's one reason why this trade would have been valid yesterday, but it's not valid today. Also, I wasn't on the charts anyway, but there's a reason for that. Does anybody want to have a guess as to why that is? It's very easy. I'll give you a clue. The answer is on your screen. It's telling you, it's already on your screen, the answer to why that long trade wouldn't be valid. We're bearish, exactly. You got it, Daniel. Daniel's the only man here clued up enough to actually answer, or not even clued up enough, that could be bothered to answer. Tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly just wipe the camera here. Apologies for any choppy vision you're seeing right now. If I clean it up for a second, I've got a wipe to hand, so it makes sense. There we go. Correct answer. Hi, mate. You're all good, dude. You're all good. I hope you're well. If I remember rightly, I might be wrong, Daniel, but did you initially find me on TikTok? I can't remember if that was right or not. I feel like we've got more than one Daniel as well, which kind of doesn't help either. So when we're looking back at this here, we're looking at this and we're saying, right, we were bullish, we saw a run, price action didn't deliver where we wanted it to go to. we now have to look to rearrange our trajectory, which is fine. It also lines up nicely because we have bullish on Euro USD right here, bullish on British Pound USD, bearish on USD JPY, bearish on gold, but gold's a commodity, so that's fine. Bearish on USD Chef, and then bullish on Aussie USD. So we've got perfect pair correlation now. Everything that we want to see is lining up nicely. So all of the factors that are playing into the correlation of price is correct. No, YouTube last week. Been crushing your videos. Oh, nice, dude. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I hope you've been learning a lot. It's a slow process, but you know, you will get through it. YouTube last week. Yeah, so the other day we were maxing out our, well, not maxing out, but we hit our maximum viewers that we'd ever had in a live stream, which was like 85 viewers, and that was on TikTok. And then TikTok decided that they didn't like my live stream and they banned me. So we're now dedicating a bit more time to YouTube. We're going to be in this sort of environment in terms of the vertical view. You know, it's a little bit more, well, a lot more actually, a lot more exposure than you would see on your horizontal format. I know there's a lot of people that followed me from a long time ago that were used to, you know, the wide format and all that kind of stuff, but we are going to be focusing more on the horizontal. But we will, what I'm hoping we'll be able to do is stream to both the TikTok and the YouTube at the same time. That would be ideal, to be honest. So here with Aussie dollar, we've got our high, which is our target, and we've got our low, which is the point that we want to see price come to. Now, if we're looking at what price is telling us, the chances of pullback here is very low. Now, the reason I say that is because we're seeing relatively high expansive moves. We're seeing price deliver some very nice bullish price action. Now, I am interested to know if there is an entry here. Now, why would there potentially be an entry here? Oh, wait, is that correct? Surely this. Okay, this might not actually be valid then. Let me see. Okay, that won't be valid anyway. Okay, it doesn't change to bullish until like here, I think. Yeah, correct. So it doesn't change to bullish until there. So at that point, it's already ran. But let's see. Now, when we're looking at the inefficiencies in the market, it does a couple of things for us. And one of the things it does is it gives us a good idea of the pressure that is being applied to one side of the market or another based off of how much of an inefficiency there is. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, do we have one, so if I draw it, do we have one singular inefficiency? So are we looking at just one little inefficiency between three candles, or are we seeing multiple inefficiencies across a movement? Now, if you look at price action like this, for example, you will see that here you have a gap and that's it, right? Price revisits the area of this space and then takes out a high to drop. Now, obviously, we're not interested in revisiting this area. We're not looking at areas, we're not looking at order blocks. We're looking at runs of liquidity. But the principle is this: if price action is sitting within an area of previously generated inefficiencies and it creates a liquid high that is then swept, it means the probability of that is going to be higher. Now, the same thing happens here. You'll notice something. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is a large collection of inefficiencies to the upside, meaning that the pressure on the buy side is much greater. So once you see, in this case, obviously the setup wasn't actually valid because um, we weren't bullish at this time. This is market close as well, so we're not necessarily going to be trading the first move. That's why I highlighted this. So if we're running this, we know that the chances are this area being filled with orders and already liquid is ready to push price to the upside is much higher. Now, when we create this low, and we come down to the hourly, we created this low bang on market close. So, little bit iffy. We'll probably say this isn't a great example, to be honest. Let's see if there was an entry given anyway. I mean, whether you'd be taking it or not. So there was an entry given, but no tapping. So the reason why we're always a bit and ah about using the 10 p.m. candle is because generally the 10 p.m. candle is just a movement created by market closure rather than market being actually shifted. So when you take that into consideration, is it a movement that is driven by liquidity, or is it a movement that is simply created because the market is shutting down for an hour? Generally, the answer is the latter. So let's go to Euro British Pound, and I'll explain the scenario here. Bearish, and remember the principle is always this. The principle is always the same. We're always looking for key points of liquid. When we have those key points of liquid, we're looking for price to interact with them and then travel in our bias direction. In this case, we're bearish. Now, if we have a singular point, that's fine. But then when we have a cluster of points, so we have lots of these in a singular area, it can become much more favorable. Now, when you also consider the fact that the last mass injection of orders was created in this area, roughly, when you see 1, 2, 3 highs placed, we know that generally there is a high chance that you are sweeping out a relatively high volume of liquid. So keep in mind, we've ran this now. We were looking for a bearish move to the downside. We haven't seen anything just yet. It doesn't mean that we're not going to run bearish here. Doesn't mean that. But we've taken this Asia high, we've taken this Asia high, and then there was like another high in here. We really just want to see it react immediately. So if this had tapped in and then just left a nice little gap and somewhere for us to follow that move from, that would have been awesome, because then what we're doing is we're following the immediate reaction of that liquidity. Now, what we want to avoid doing is what I see a lot of people doing. And what you're going to see a lot of people doing is this. A point of liquidity will be hit. Okay, it'll be hit, awesome. Then because it's been hit, anything that happens after that, automatically people start to think that it holds relevance. When in reality, if we have a singular point of reference, we have to remain relatively local to that point. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is if we're tapping into this and we're running away, what we don't want to be doing is just chasing every little area that pops up after. Because what's happening is you're moving out of the relevance of that previous area that we focused on in the first place. So making sure that you stay within the understanding that if there is high volumes there, you will see those volumes present themselves. If they don't present themselves, we simply wait for the next scenario to appear. Now, yes, it can be frustrating, but remember, we aren't here to trade every single move. We're here to trade the moves that are favorable. Yeah. So there's 8 people right now in this live stream. If every single one of you could sub to me right now, that'd be amazing. We are trying to get a few likes as well. If you guys can give me some likes, that'd also be amazing. I think I've got really bad hay fever today, guys. And also you can see that my camera's wobbling around, and I'm not at the office, obviously. I'm at home. So different settings. I've got my laptop on my lap. Obviously the lighting isn't the best, but I think, oh, maybe we don't have it. Let's see. Yeah, that definitely doesn't pop up. Let's try again, shall we? 1 second, chat. No, definitely doesn't work. I'm trying to test the alert box. Let's see. Hmm. Apparently alert boxes don't work in mobile format, which sounds like complete turd if you ask me. Hmm. What's going on, Thriving? Welcome, brother. What's happening? Hope you're well. What is going on, man? Let's see. Right, so here I was explaining yesterday to one of my students the way that Euro is bullish, but how we can begin to interpret a potential move for it now. Of course, I've said this a million times. If we're bullish, we should always expect price to continue to run bullish. In this case, we pushed bearish into the areas of inefficiency, and now we're starting to move bullish again. Now, keeping in mind what we're seeing here, we're seeing price push down, create a high area of volume, and now we're seeing an expansive move up into the New York session. Now, we are bullish, so the probability here that we see a continued bullishness is relatively high. We do have this point right here, which is our low. That could be our point of expansion. Now, the reason I always say could rather than will is because there are no certainties in the market. There's no certainties at all. The main thing is always this: if we are lucky enough to see price come down into this area, we may get a move to the upside. If not, we could have the opposite, which is where price just continues up and we were correct in bias, but we were wrong in entry point. We could also have a scenario where we were wrong in both and we continue down lower. Now, as long as our bias doesn't change, the narrative stays the same, and the narrative, of course, is for price action to run to these points of liquid and then continue their direction, which is up. Yeah, I'm good, thanks, brother. Hope you're well. I hope everyone in the live stream's well right now. I don't know if the live count is actually correct or not. It says we've got 9 people in here. If we have got 9 people in here, if you could all share the live stream, that would be awesome. If you could all hit the like button, that would also be awesome. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Remember, all of the links that you could possibly need are in the description down below. Remember, if you need to set yourself up a private account, Vantage is the place to do it. The link down below, you will get many bonuses on top of their standard bonuses, so make sure you use that if you're looking to set up an account. Also, if you fund an account, okay, so is it working? It is working. Thank you for the subscription. Appreciate it. We are going to make that smaller. I'm going to put it above my head. Okay, so it does work. Awesome. That's great. So like I said before, if you do fund yourself an account with Vantage using my link, send me the information. As long as your account stays funded, I will teach you the system completely free, top to bottom. Now, of course, you don't need to do that. People like Thriving here in the YouTube learnt the system and tested the system without even spending a single penny. The only thing he paid for was backtesting software, which, if I'm not mistaken, he already had. Okay, let's have a look at EUGU UJ, everything's just static right now. Gold is running for those targets. Gold is running for those targets. Remember, guys, hitting that thumbs up button costs nothing. It is literally completely free, but it helps us a million. Why, bro? I think ICT isn't working. What you say? Yeah, I don't agree with a lot of the concepts that he teaches, essentially. Um, Look, I'm not one to say something does or doesn't work, okay? Because the market's so subjective. You can literally flip a coin and have consistency. There's a guy on Instagram called the Chicken Trader, and he literally uses a chicken to decide what he's going to do in the market. So, you can have consistency. The one thing I don't agree with is he spent his life preaching how he's like the best of the best and he knows everything, but then he's lost every single Robin's Cup that he's entered. Statistically, it's impossible for him to do that. Many people have said that, oh, he done it on purpose. If you believe that, you are just like ridiculously gullible. Um, I think it's no different. He makes money off of monetizing his YouTube and he makes money from the courses he sold before. I don't use the systems that he teaches. I use elements of a similar thing, but like I said, he claims to create all this stuff when in theory, if you go and look up Richard Wyckoff, he's responsible for creating a lot of the concepts, and he was around before ICT was even born. That's why all the stuff that I teach is all homegrown. Yes, the elements might be elements that are already in the market, or they're like, how would I say? They're rule-based elements within the market already, but the trading system and the principles that we follow are completely unique, and we've made them ourselves from the ground up. So that's the main thing is always this. I think there's too much, subjectiveness in a lot of systems. Too much subjectiveness leads to inconsistencies, and at that point you're spiraling out of control. So what we are going to do is we are going to just post quickly the video that I made just today. So I'm also going to share the live stream if I even can. How do I even do that? I can chat. Here we go. What's this? There we go. Right, we've got 4 likes right now. I'm pretty sure there's 10 people in here. We can get 10 likes, surely. Come on, chat. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Okay, right. I'm just trying to. Let me shut myself up there so I can hear myself on repeat. I am looking for. Okay, yeah, cool. Right, that's awesome. Amazing. Right, we've hit our target low here on gold. We want price action to continue running bearish as we are bearish on it. That's what we would like to see. What we see in here on euro. We are bullish on this, so we're looking for the lows here to be contacted. We're bearish on UJ, bullish on GU, bullish on EU, bearish on gold. If anyone has any pairs you want me to look at, make sure you just ask. This is the only thing I prefer with TikTok is the engagement rate is a lot higher on TikTok. And now I'm not saying that you have to, have to be engaged. You have to like talk or anything like that. But what I'm saying is you have a lot more to reference off and talk about when you're TikTok streaming. A lot of the time, anyway. You have a lot more people coming and going. Um, YouTube, I think, it gives you a few people to watch, and then it sort of stops suggesting you as much, which is, not really ideal, but it's one of those things. We're gonna have to deal with it. I've been joined by the cat. She's chilling with me right now. It's just so warm. So warm today. What strategy actually works? The strategy that I'm using right now. And there's people in this chat that use this system. They have backtesting data for this system that can back up exactly what I'm saying and what I'm doing. Long-term consistency is not about accuracy. It's about knowing the mathematical equation that is going to provide you long-term outcome. And the long-term outcome really is nothing more than having a statistical edge on the market. For anyone that was wondering, because we spoke about this yesterday, this was the scenario that was delivered, and then we didn't get a tap in. That was the scenario that was delivered. Remember, we got out of this trade around here. No, sorry, around here. About 10 p.m. Is that about 10 p.m.? Yeah. So about there in a very, very minor profit, because we had a bias change. If you're wondering what this system's called, it's called the Orion trading system. You can learn it completely free. I teach a lot of it in the live streams, in the Discord. But if you would like to be taught by me one-to-one, you can do that by funding yourself an account through Xauusd. You can fund an account there, or we can't see what you referenced there. Let's see what you referenced. So, oh, what you mean, like what we were trading off of? Here, let me get rid of this. You see this low right here? The short. Oh, the short. Yeah, here. So this high, bosh, like that, down to the 15. See? Beautiful. Gave you the entry. We tapped in within like 2 or 3 candles, came out of it, and then, like I said, we had a bias change. Um, the bias switched from bearish to bullish, so we had to exit the position. That's just the standard rule set. If you have a bias change during um, your hold of a position, then you get out. Even if it means taking a minor loss, it's generally, it's just the rule set. You just get out. Because you're better off taking a minor loss than a full loss by not listening to your bias, and ultimately you're holding a trade that is counter your bias, which is not ideal. Okay, let's see if we can drum up some more. Excuse me, apologies, guys. 3 minutes to process a video. That's kind of crazy. And yeah, after the bias change, we had this low that was in place right here, which is the previous day in New York. We just about took it out. Then it gave an entry right here. Price action delivered a nice bullish move, but wasn't low enough for us to follow that trade into the highs, which is unfortunate, but that happens. It's one of those things, we accept it. We accept it. You, chef. AU, oil. You know, I had like 3 or 4 different people ask me, is now a good time to short oil? That's what everyone keeps asking me. Is now a good time to short oil? Is now a good time to short oil? And even though I'm bearish, I still think we're going to see a bullish push. If we see the Strait of, was it Hormuz? 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 I don't know how you say it. The Strait of Hormuz. Absolutely butchering the name. If that closes, that's going to cut off all of the major oil producing nations, and it's going to really skyrocket the price of gold. Not gold, sorry, oil. Well, liquid gold. Don't they have a ceasefire? Yes, but they're still talking about closing the strait for some reason. I'm not sure the exact reason for it. I think it's something to do with the um, what's it called? The tariffs. I think. I'm not 100%. If anyone in the chat is more clued up, let me know. I'm not really that full on it with the economics, to be honest. Yeah. I also had someone say to me as well that they think Bitcoin's going to sell now to the lowest level this year or something, which is kind of wild because that means it'll be down below 74k. I can't see it personally. I think we're going to see something like this. That's what I think. It's like a reaccumulation. So remember, if you're in the chat right now, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you join the Discord if you haven't already. If you're setting yourself up a private account, now could be the time. Get yourself involved with one of the most reputable brokers globally, which is Xauusd. Use my link down below. You're going to get yourself loads of different perks and bonuses when you sign up. It also will give you access to my mentorship completely free. Again, you don't need that. You do not need that. And there are people that have learnt the system just off YouTube. There is one psychic I follow that calls for shorts all the time. Really? They call for shorts all the time, and does it go long? I always say, look, our balls are pink, they're not crystal. So we shouldn't anticipate something that we can't actually, you know, we can't actually gauge it, so there's no point trying to anticipate it. It's kind of similar to what I've said before with the what's it called? With the do gosh. Oh yeah, catching reversals. With like catching reversals, we should always just look at what price is doing. It's like the simplest thing ever. You should look at what it's doing. Cool. Well, expect that to continue. Now, yes, you can have a bias against it. So, for example, and they're all actually following bias. Okay, like this. Yeah, we got a bearish euro bias, but price has been going bullish. But that's fine because what you're going to find is 95% of the time, if we go to the daily time frame and we look at the bias, what it's telling us, it's a daily time frame. Majority of the time, yeah, look, majority of the time, the bias is going to be correct. Yeah, let's rewind and see if it's correct further back. Yeah, look at that. It's almost too good. It's almost too good. Remember, this is the free indicator that we give. It came bullish from here and it literally ran bullish. It came bearish from here and it just went bearish. It came bullish from here and it went bullish. Bearish from here and it went bearish. It's like you can't ask for much more in terms of a free indicator, to be honest. But you don't even need the indicator. You can learn it all for free. You can learn it all for free, and you can learn it all and apply it without the indicator being there. The indicator is free as well, but the principle is this: like, you're better off having the knowledge of how to do it without it than just relying on it, you know? EU analysis? Yeah, sure. So EU, we are long right now. This is our target. And yeah, we don't really have much, to be honest. There's not much going on. Got a little pocket of liquid at the low. Apart from that, there's not really anything going on. If we go to the hourly, oh sorry, the 15-minute, you can see we did have this actually, which could have been classed as an entry, and this is something that you could actually look into, Thriving. When you have like a session open, sorry, if you find the session open causes a run of like a point of liquid from the previous session, the probability of there being an entry based off of that is a lot higher. So like when you look at like the 5-minute, for example, here, and then you follow that up, or like the 1-minute, for example, look for an entry there. But of course, that's too far gone. But the idea is always this: where's the new money coming in? Where's it guiding us? Because you're going to find if you backtest if you backtest this system through like FX Replay, who we really encourage you to use. A lot of our students use them, and it's a really good software. When you backtest it, you're going to find that a lot of your good entries and the longer term runners that give you the biggest returns or the fastest trades are the ones that occur at crossovers with market open. So when you have a crossover of market open and the entry being delivered at the same time, it's going to give you like a double confluence, if you were. So gold, we're actually bearish on gold, and we just hit the low. So we're looking at, I mean, that's not even a valid high yet, but we're looking at the cluster of highs. We wanted price to run these highs last week, and it didn't, or I think it was actually the beginning of this week, and it didn't. So we now have like an insane cluster of highs here. It's like, I don't even know how many highs it is. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 highs. That's wild. Is it 7 highs? Yeah, 7 highs. 7 highs right up there, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, we're looking for that to run down into the lows. So remember, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is the problem we have with YouTube is it doesn't give us much feedback. It doesn't give us much in terms of like ways we can interact with you, you know? Like it's all good, you guys are here in the live stream and all sweet, but um the things are, thanks for the subscription, bro. Appreciate it. But the main thing is this, that with TikTok, for example, we can send you coins, or we can give you like a giveaway, or we can do like, there's so many things we can do. YouTube, it doesn't offer any of that. Like it doesn't offer that value, I think. They should really up their game and look into sort of allowing things to happen in terms of you getting something in return. I like being able to be like, cheers guys, thanks for being in the live stream, here's X. That better? Can't tell. We use the previous session high and low as liquid that we seek to sweep in the beginning of the new session open. It doesn't have to be, so it's more like this, right? So it's more like, let's say these are sessions, or these are the beginning of sessions. I hate it when the pen does that. I don't know why it does that. See, right? Let's say these are sessions. The idea is this: if you have liquid, let's say that's sitting at lows, for example. That's a really bad example. Let me get that out of the way. So there's a low sitting here, right? And we've had price run up like something like this. And then it comes along and then New York kicks in and it goes boom and gives an entry. So essentially all it needs to have is a form of liquidity being swept at the open. It doesn't have to be a previous high or low of a session. And all it is just because if you're seeing that sweep early on, you're seeing price action run that liquid and deliver something, it's giving you that consistency in what you're looking for, you know? I thought gold was going to run the liquid tap into the 15-minute OB possibly, sweep, then run these highs and balances to the highs. I don't know about the order block thingy mabob. But what I do know is, wait, did you say it didn't go high enough? Is that didn't go low enough this morning? So here, oh, you're talking about running into here? Talked about running into these lows, like these lows. Was on the futures chart. This looks different. Yeah, to be fair, that the CFDs always look slightly different. So remember, guys, if you haven't already given me a little sub, then you can. Remember, it doesn't cost anything. If you change your mind, you can always unsub. I'm just checking up on a couple of emails here. Cool. Okay, so what do we actually have then to reference off? Right now, not much. Although here, it's a shame it wasn't sooner, right? We're starting to see that potential sell-off move. That's what I was talking about earlier, wasn't I? Running into these lows. We've got liquid placed here. Price action is almost rallying. Well, not rallying, obviously, because it's falling, but it's almost running towards that point. Just trying to line this up here. Is that even? Kind of looks wonky. It's fine, we'll see. So chat, I don't know if any of you have ever seen one of these before. This plant right here is called a mother of millions, right? And I'd never ever seen one before. To be honest, I think this needs a water, it's a little bit dry. But it's like a desert plant, but it produces miniature versions of itself on its leaves. And then when they grow roots on the leaves, they just drop off. So you see how there's like tons of them in there? There was just one plant, and then what happens is it produces miniature versions of itself. They drop off into the soil and they just start growing and they turn into another plant. So if you if you have a big one of those, it's just going to produce hundreds of itself, clones of itself. That's why it's called the mother of millions, because it essentially will create millions of itself over a period of time. It's kind of crazy. I didn't even know about it. Gold buys look good from 5. Strawberries do the same thing. Do they? That's crazy. I didn't know that. I know strawberries obviously have seeds on the outside of the berry, but like, that's wild. Yeah, I didn't know that. Buys look good from gold on the 5-minute order block. We don't really look at order blocks here, my dude. Appreciate it though. Remember, guys, if you are still looking for that consistency, Orion can offer you that consistency. You just have to be realistic and mathematical with it. Now, I know that Thriving, he done a back test early on. Thank you for the sub, appreciate it. Early on, with the Orion system, and he saw some insane returns, mate. And then he done another test with a 5K account and made $900, which is like, is that not like 18%? It's like 18%. That's crazy. And that's with a 1/4% risk as well. So if you up that to 1% risk, dude's making like, what would that be? If we round it to 15, that would be like 60%. That's crazy. What do I think about gold longs? No, I'm bearish. I'm bearish, dudes. Does it seem weird to have like a different background? And the camera just constantly wobbling, so I do apologize for that. Aussie ran the high, now it's starting to tip off a little bit. It's crazy. Euro. Good golly. What's everyone's view right now? What are you guys looking at? I've got to lower this down. It's giving me leg ache. I apologize, it's so bright. Um, were those results based on daily 4 hour 15-minute? Yes. Thriving is in it right now. He's like X Nick's music. Is that how you say? Look, I apologize. That's probably absolutely butchered. He is among us. He's walking among us. That is the daily 4 hour 15. That is the standard Orion rule set. Yeah. I'm in the mountain valley. What do you mean? What do you mean, brother? everything's so like in between right now. I don't know if anyone's noticed that everything's so in between. Let's see what we've got for news today. I think we've got some news coming up, right? We've already had the news at 1:30, so we have nothing. Okay, we're just waiting for New York Open. And what am I talking about? New York Open's already been. So nothing. We're just waiting for price to pick up here and see if the volume picks up a little bit. I mean, fingers crossed it does, because at the moment we are sluggish. So if you ever see me highlight something like this, it's just to show you that there's liquidity below the lows, because the main thing with it is you can highlight like this, but it's just showing the same thing, isn't it? It just doesn't look as neat. I prefer lines personally, but I know that you guys like to be able to just see the area, you know, the generalized area near the mountains. It's actually beautiful weather as well today. Like today is so nice. So nice, but it's just really windy. It's really windy. What's going on here? Let's see. Da, 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 da. This is what we've got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That'll be like a really late area, but we can use it for an example. See if it gives us anything. The only problem that you're going to have is this. You're going to find this a lot as well. Um, when you have a scenario where a trade area is given, you always have to remember that the environment that you're entering is the most key part. So the key part of it is always the problem of um, understanding our hit rate. So we can have like all the way down into like a 30% hit rate, right? Which is obviously not ideal. You know, it's not exactly like it's every single market condition that's like that. But we want to be able to sustain low hit rates. Yeah. The reason we want to be able to sustain low hit rates is because it allows us to be on the right side of the market probability without pushing something that is unrealistic to sustain. So if you can sustain like a low 30% hit rate, if you see a better hit rate, then your results over a long period of time become much greater. So like this, for example, we would need to see a 1 to 3 minimum to be able to sustain that. This is a 1 to 4.7. Even if we take it to the lower point, it's still only a 1.9. So the the trade here is not going to be valid in terms of you actually trading it. Now, if there was, of course, an area given earlier, it would have been like a 1 to 6. Would have been a different ball game. But there wasn't an area given earlier, so the principle still remains. This is why we use it as an example for potential runs and sells, but I'm not going to be getting involved with that. Now, of course, there are other ways of going around it. You know, there's many other principles you can use in terms of you could locate a 1 minute high or a 5 minute high in here if there is any, yeah, and use that as liquid. And then if price comes back and delivers an entry, you use that as like a confirmation point. Purposely, I say avoid doing that because you're much better off sticking to the base system and then seeing results with that over a long period of time. Looks like a cracking day out there. Yeah, it's it's all right. Yeah, it's nice. It's just really windy, dude. Really windy. I wish to keep it simple series in one sitting, but feel like I need to take another watch and miss the liquidity stuff. I believe the liquidity stuff is. Oh, I need to update the playlist, to be honest with you. 1 second. See 1 second. Tell if I was actually on the right account, wouldn't it? Stupid. The only thing as well with YouTube, you can't play what's it called? Music, like anything that's copyrighted. Which obviously, it's whatever, but it's whatever. See. So liquidity. Just trying to locate it for you guys 1 second. So obviously we've got the Orion trading system, the purpose is in there. Ba, ba, bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, ba. Keep it simple +1, I think, has some liquid points in it. But then you watched the whole thing, didn't you? So buy side window entries. Uh, see on here. The SE entry models in detail. I've got that video. That's not even out. That's not even out. I got so many videos on here. Kind of crazy. 3,000 views. That's nearly out now. That's good. I think that's my most viewed video. Fractals is my most viewed video. Interesting one. It's mentioned in +1, but not how it's applied. Okay. I did watch the old liquidity video. Okay, cool. No worries. You can make your own music. Take it easy, brother. Monday you go. Yeah, that's all good. Maybe we'll do another video to add to the Keep It Simple series. Maybe that's what we'll do. You like that? Yeah, that's some older context stuff on there. There's some, a lot of the older videos you'll see, like I was using a structural narrative a lot more than a liquid-based narrative. Now, the reason why I've changed it is because where I work with the institutional firm in the Middle East, I see the way they trade. So I still keep the same principles at the core, but the system itself is different. which is, the way it needs to be. It's the evolution. And I've had people say before, like, oh, you're trading this like a year ago, and now you're trading differently. And it's like, it's no different to seeing like a musical artist and seeing the evolution of that artist, seeing their album after they've been an artist for 5 years, seeing their album when they first started, it's never going to be the same. You don't make the same music. Doesn't mean it's better, doesn't mean it's worse, but it's the evolution. And that's the thing as well. That's what I always encourage people to do. I encourage people to take what I teach, like the Orion system, for example, and test it and make improvements to it if you want to make improvements to it. Come to me and we can do a collaboration on actually finalizing those improvements. Or you can do it completely on your own. It's one of those things. I don't ever tell people that they can't do something or can do something with the system. It's there to be used. Trading's personal. You just need to make sure that you make it personal for yourself. Right, what are we looking like now in terms of UJ? Nothing really crazy going on. Gold is pretty similar. Euro, GBP, they're all just so like sluggish. Whoa. There's no like immediate price action movement with these. I mean, oil, yes, doesn't really help us like 'cause we're bearish. Even though I believe long term we're going to see bullish. Let me get this and this out of the way. Just had the 2 alerts come through. Haha. Now, chat, I don't know if you're about to see this. Let me see. Look, you see that? Bearish Orion entry. So the system we have is already automated to a level. Personally, hi, why your screen small? The screen's small because it's mobile view. If you've got mobile, best way to look at is mobile format. That's why we've done it on here. Mobile format, you get a lot more viewership on YouTube. They offer your views to a lot more people because people are scrolling through shorts, so you pop up. Whereas in horizontal view, you're relying solely on people that are on YouTube clicking on your thumbnail. So the difference is you don't have to rely on your thumbnail drawing viewers in. You can just get viewers by people scrolling constantly. And we also have picked up a lot more subscriptions and stuff this way too, because I think the way to do it is capture people's attention when they're in the short term, like scrolling. And then when they subscribe, they might look at other videos and so on, which is good. I can't even speak. Personally, my favorite video is where you mention that sticking blindly to one thing isn't necessarily right. Having the ability to read from different perspectives seems valuable. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly the context you need to use in the market. Now, that's why the system that we use, Orion, is so unique because it captures um, that essence very, very well. So if we look at the the bias side of things, so let's go to like gold, for example, and you'll see if we rewind a little bit, how it captures lots of short periods of selling where we do get like a few days of selling. So remember, these are daily candles, but then it also changes your bias for you and it allows you to just be consistent with following that bias. So you don't have to read yourself like, oh, is it going to be bullish still, even though it's gone down for 2 days? Is it going to be bullish still? Is it going to be bullish still? No, it's gone bearish. You had a bearish bias for 1 day and then you changed and you weren't correct anyway. So having a system, this is the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing. Having a system, look at that as well. That's beautiful. It goes bearish and it goes properly bearish for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 days. Then it goes bullish again. Then it goes bearish again. Then it goes bullish again. Then it goes bearish again. Even through the chop, it still gets some decent probability. But it's always about this: is what we want to do is avoid discretion. Any discretion in the market allows you to have a variable decision-making method, which ultimately leads you to this. If you have a variable decision-making, it gives you inconsistency in terms of what you're going to see on a daily basis. Now, why is that? Well, not every single day are you going to feel a certain way. Not every single day are you going to feel like you're comfortable doing a certain thing, or you're going to be like, no, I'm not going to do it because of X, Y, Z, whatever the reason may be. Whereas having a system which is validated by data, like Orion, it allows you to just let go of that and be like, I'm just going to listen to what it tells me to do. I trust it. It's kind of like if you had driving lessons and then you don't trust your instructor because you feel like they're not that good of a driver, when in reality, if you don't trust them, you're going to crash. That's the main thing. It's always about trust in your system, and you build that trust by having evidence that the system works. And this is what I've said before. I'm not going to come onto these live streams and make you think the system works by the results that I've achieved. I'm not going to showcase to you a profit or a loss on an account, because that doesn't dictate anything except for what the profit or loss of a singular account is. That account might be traded by a totally different person. It could be traded by a bot. It might not even be a real account. So this is why I always say that the trading industry focuses so much on money, like Lamborghinis and Rolexes and all this BS, when really we should focus on systematic entry models and understanding the principle. Thank you for the subscription, I appreciate it. Understanding the principle that a system that gives you results is going to be the main thing that you need. You don't need inspiration from me showing you my life. You don't need inspiration from me showing you some fucking demo account. Do you know what I mean? You need inspiration from taking the rules that I teach you, putting it into a backtesting software, and seeing over the space of a year, 2 years, you're seeing a consistent return. Because then that's when you get that little spark in your eye and you realize, hang on a minute, all of the things that I've seen on social media are irrelevant. People go, I made $100,000 last month. It's like, yeah, but that is irrelevant because the system is what's important. You could have made $100,000 last month, but you could have gambled it in a casino, and then you're telling us you made it on trading, It's literally like the most irrelevant thing. Tying a monetary value to the value and wellness of a system is what has broken the Forex industry. Um, I've always said this, I don't preach that anything is like, trust me, bro, I made this much, this system works. What I say is, these are the rules. If you want to take your time to learn them, you can. I'm giving them to you for free. Take what I teach you and go and test it yourself. Prove that it works. Prove that it doesn't work. You don't have to take my word for it. Hello, kitty. Come on in. Come and say hello to everyone on YouTube. Look at the size of this cat. Look at the size of it. It's like an extra long baguette. Can you show us the entry from that alert? Oh yeah, sorry. I was too busy yapping. It's the alert we were talking about earlier, the entry we were talking about earlier. Here, Euro, British pound. Like a scarf? Yeah, it's a heavy scarf, dude. She shits like a dog. Hello. And you're probably getting a load of mic feedback right now. So apologies. This is the entry. Obviously, you know that the validation of this entry isn't there because of the RR. Now, the reason we have that RR model in place is because of the probability of the system. So remember that, oh, covered in hair now. Remember that the probability of the system dictates the minimum return per trade. Was the alert created by the was the alert activated by the creation of the FEG or the FOG? Um, so it was yes, theoretically yes, but it's the creation of this area here. So obviously without the FEG, that isn't an area. But that area is the point you would use for your order. So what it does is when it creates one of these zones, it gives you an alert. So I know a lot of people were like, why don't you just run that all the time and just use it all the time? Well, it's still in development, so it's not actually 100%. And it's such a big pool of code that we don't know when it's going to be done, to be honest, which is kind of annoying, but it's one of those things. I think it's like 600 lines of code, and it's only a Pine script, which obviously like is absurd for a Pine script. Your standard Pine script, I think, is about 100 lines, maybe. It's like 5 times the size of that. Oh, what's going on? What's happened? Oh, there we go. We had a black screen there. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. So yeah, we're looking for a couple of moves to happen within the next hour or so, but right now it looks so bad. Like the market looks shocking. Like it doesn't look, the market environment looks good, but what I mean is it looks bad in terms of, is there probability of price coming up into this high? Not really. Not today anyway. Is there probability of price pushing down into this low to give us an entry? Not really. Is there probability in price coming into these lows to give an entry? Not really. Is there probability of price coming into this to give us an entry? Not really. Is there probability of price pushing into here? Not really. Is there probability of price pushing to here? Not really. So you can begin to see what I mean by the market looks bad, because for us, we need to see some relative sort of confluence in terms of price pushing towards an area or pushing away from an area, giving us something to work with. Right now, we're not seeing anything. I mean, this is likely, but that's just one pair, so we can set an alert on that actually. Set an alert there. We'll know if it runs down into the low, and set an alert here. So we don't really have a huge amount to cover. What's the time? How far into this live stream are we? We are an hour and 20 minutes. So we'll do another 10 minutes and then we'll wrap up. and we will wrap up. So remember, if you haven't already, follow me on TikTok. This is the TikTok account. Yeah, Ross-rfx. Head over to TikTok, search Ross-rfx, and give me a follow. We're at 1450 nearly followers, which is actually pretty insane because I only made this account like yesterday after I got my other one banned. I didn't actually even get it banned. This is the most annoying thing about it. Well, obviously, I was the one responsible for it getting banned, but I didn't actually do anything to get banned, is what I'm saying. In the video you mentioned being able to apply LTF on days like this. Could you default to LTF and Orion until the higher time frame narrative plays out? You can, yes, but generally what I like to do is I like to apply LTF into the narrative of the higher time frame entry. So, for example, down here, see we ran this low, I would refer to the 1 minute, which doesn't actually give you a tap in, but I'd refer to the 1 minute or the 5 minute and see if we can run something like this. So obviously the 5 minute doesn't give an entry, but that's all, is what it is. Now, if we go back to where price is currently, we could apply the principle of, it's such a wobbly belly. We could apply a principle of looking at the hourly here. What even is that? Why is that there? What? Okay, looking at the hourly and then focusing in on some potential moves to happen on like the 5 minute. So we'd look at like this low, see if we can run it, but we're still in one of those positions where price action is not really pulling back. It's not really delivering to points that we want to actually trade from. So you don't have to use the higher time frame narrative in terms of um, using the LTF and MTF. It's just going to give you more probability. So if we go to like Euro, see how Euro, even with this, it's like Asia, and that is like the lows that we want to look at. You could obviously look at this low, but it's not really the best. And then if you're looking at the internal lows, they're just not that good, are they really? So there is potential, but we still need it to pull back. Same thing happening here. We still need it to come down lower. We'd need this to come up into the highs. Everything's just really sitting still. The markets that we want to see the most are the markets that are moving against our bias. So like they're pushing up even though we're bearish. That's the principle. And like this, we'd want to see it pushing up because we're bearish. That's the problem. All of the markets are moving in. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I know exactly what you're saying. Um, we want to be in markets that are moving against our bias to be able to establish points to actually buy and sell from. That's the main thing. Okay, guys. Right, I think we're going to wrap it up here in a couple of minutes. So if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, if you haven't shared the live stream, make sure you do. I'm just going to check out the live dashboard right now. We're nearly at 3.2k 3.2k followers, which is actually kind of insane. How do you get to the live studio? Your videos. Okay, here. Live. Live right now. Surely that's not right. We've only got 5 likes. Surely that's not right. $355 views. Now that's what I'm talking about, chat. Although on TikTok we were getting like 3,000. 6 on your side? Yeah, it says 6 for me now too as well, actually. We should probably get some music written up. Well, not music actually written up, but just some tunes. Oh gosh. Right, I think we're going to wrap it up there and we'll be back tomorrow with another live stream. I think we're going to wrap it up. The market is kind of sitting stagnant at the moment. We've got things that we want to look at. You guys know what we're looking at. We've already explained to you and showed you the points that we're trying to trade from. So hopefully you should be able to track those points as well. I'll need to get TT. Yeah, get TikTok, dude. It's worth it. It's good. The main thing is we're not going to be back on there for at least another week. Can you not attack me, please? Thanks. We're not going to be on there for at least another week. We're going to be on here for a week, and then we'll be back. But we're going to be extra careful because last time we got banned for like the stupidest things. I think one of them was saying something like if you deposit into a Vantage account, you get a bonus. Then one of them, they didn't even tell you the reason why we got banned. And that, well, actually, like 3 of them, they didn't tell you the reason we got banned. And then the other one was something to do with mentioning an account and a bonus. Like, yeah. I mean, if they just had a human watch them, they'd surely see, that there's nothing dodgy going on. But either way, I appreciate every single one of you joining me. I appreciate all the likes, all the loves, all the comments, every single one of you. And I'll see you all in tomorrow's live stream. Peace and love.